All right, this video is going to be about if I could rewind and go back to when I was 14. I was a freshman in high school. I was extremely dedicated. I wanted to be able to play in college, play pro baseball. I didn't quite know how to get there yet. This video is going to basically be about the things I would do differently if I could go back to my 14-year-old self.
Runner goes, Glenn is down.
Some quick context. I pitched at 2 D1s, Cal Poly and Oregon State. I went to one of the best JUCOs in the country in College of Central Florida. I just turned 26. I'm in AA with Chicago Cubs now. I got drafted by them in 2021. I also run a training company where we work with college and high school pitchers. So I've been on both sides of this. I've been the kid on the other side grinding to try to make things happen, and I've been the coach working with some of the athletes to try to make their dreams come true. Point being, most of the things that young kids are going through, young athletes, young pitchers, young baseball players, I've experienced them, and I've seen the aftermath of each choice. So when I was 14, I vividly remember doing this. I would gather a bunch of different info from stuff people were putting out on the internet, and I would save it all. I didn't have a vetting process of what I should hone in on and what I should ignore. I didn't have any of that. So I would save all this info, and it was a glaring overload of information, and it prevented me from making progress quicker than I could have, essentially. I heard a maxim the other day, and it's the art of focus is knowing what to ignore. And if focus is one of our biggest weapons as young athletes, we have to know what to ignore to be good at focusing. Focus is a force multiplier. When you can hone in on a very specific couple qualities that you want to improve on, you will make progress on those qualities infinitely faster than if you diversify your attention and scatter it through all of these other resources that are out there. You're trying to just cherry pick this tree from all over, and you end up negating a lot of the progress that you could have made in that time period. If I were to go back, I would have gotten really clear, honestly hone in on 2, 3, at max, 3 things that I wanted to accomplish within, let's say, a 4-6 month period. And I would have been ruthless with eliminating the things that really didn't matter that much, right? And it's going to be different for each kid what those are. But the point is, narrow your gaze. You can only get better at so many things in one go. And if you diversify, you lose the ability to make exponential gains because your focus is in different places. So I would have been more disciplined with the information that I consumed. This goes in tandem with I would shed the amount of accounts I was following on social media that posted like training related content. Because again, this is going to help you ignore stuff that doesn't matter. And ultimately, following 100 different people all posting stuff about how to get better is just like, you're not going to be able to focus on anything unless you're like ruthlessly disciplined. So I'd really narrow that down to the people that I really trusted and had a good feeling about. I would stay away from private pitching lessons at this age. Unless the guy I was working with was extremely skilled and had the technology to utilize during a bullpen, like TrackMan, and the mind to basically work on pitches with me. In most cases, aside from extreme ones, I would stay away from private lessons. It's just going to be really hard to get value out of those. I know they're extremely common with, like, you know, you're a parent of a child or the athlete. It's like, oh, like, we want to do the best we can. Let's go do lessons. And it makes total sense. But I think you really got to zoom out and be like, how are we measuring if we're getting better? What are we actually working on? You can't just show up there, pay someone $80, and because they played D1 baseball and they say a couple of things, expect to be like a significantly better pitcher over working with them for 2 months. Like, it doesn't work like that. You know, there's so many other things that go into being the best baseball player you can be. And so many of them aren't going to be touched in terms of a private lessons setting, which is a like a brain switch realization that a lot of parents are having now. Like that used to be a crazy take. Now it's becoming more common. And you see a lot of these kids that are really, really good and they've dedicated a lot of time to just training, building that foundation. And then when junior year rolls around, like these kids are throwing like low 90s. And they might not be the best pitcher yet, but they hone that later. They commit to a great school. They get all the opportunities because they've given themselves so much room for error from the output side that they give themselves time to hone in the skill. Whereas if you just do lessons and it's not all integrated, lessons is almost like you're trying to get super good at the skill of pitching without any of the output that's going to help you become an elite pitcher. Because it'd be like trying to put you have a Ferrari exterior, but there's a Prius engine in it, right? It doesn't work. You need to build that engine first, and then you can get specific. But the issue is a lot of these people that run these lessons are, even if you had the engine, it's like they don't have a way to measure if you're getting better. So you just keep coming back and paying, and it's like, oh yeah, we just do these. He loves them, like, and it's like, I don't know. I did lessons when I was younger. Like they didn't really like. I learned how to throw a changeup. I'll give it that, and it was a former MLB pitcher who I did the lessons with. Awesome guy. Like I enjoyed the camaraderie. But looking back on it, like after I learned the changeup, I mean, I didn't really need to go back there. You know, like he was catching me and I was throwing, but like there wasn't, like there's just other ways to get better that are fully integrated. You know, so I think understanding that is important. And if I were to go back to when I was 14, 15, lessons really wouldn't have had a fit in what I know now, like how to get the most out of a young player. This ties right into my next point, which is the volume of games that you're playing, like in the summer and the fall. And this is a hot topic. And for whatever reason, parents think that like you just get your kid in front of enough scouts, colleges, like eventually they're just going to offer him a scholarship from like attrition. Like it's just the equivalent of shoving a square peg in a round hole. The edges are just going to keep hitting because he doesn't have the skills yet. He doesn't have the tools. He doesn't have the raw engine yet. And that's what colleges and pro scouts are looking for. They aren't looking for the most polished player at all, honestly. They're looking for raw tools that they can develop. And you don't get those raw tools by just playing games. Playing games does help you get a sense of baseball, a game sense, intuition. Those things are all extremely important. But those things don't get you to the next level if you don't have the tools and the output. We see this over and over again. Like if you're watching this and you're a kid that's 14, 15, and you throw high 70s, right? Like you could be on a good track, but there's two trajectories you could go. You could keep playing a ton of games, kind of neglect training, and you look up, you'll be a senior, you'll throw about 82, and then you can go work at Amazon after you graduate, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, but you got to understand, like, it's right there in front of you. Like, you use your brain a little bit, and you can understand that you can't expect to just be entitled to get really good at baseball by just playing games over and over again. There's more to it than that. Games are like the final reward. Like, that's like that's like the prize at the end, right? But you have to lay that foundation. And if you can lay that foundation and balance doing some of it, i.e., proper training, good structure, and then some games here and there, that's when you just skyrocket. Because, I mean, from like 12 to 15, 16, I played so much over the summer, and I didn't get any scholarship offers. I finally dedicated myself to training basically the summer of 2016 through the fall of 2016. And it was like the first time I actually like dedicated myself to like a structured program. And next thing you know, I go to one showcase the next summer and I have 12 offers. Literally there was no reason for me to waste all the time and money playing those other showcases the 4 years before. Like, great experience, met some cool guys and stuff, but like in all reality, like parents and I not wasted, but didn't utilize a lot of time and money properly, right? Like, and it's just as simple as that. And I see this over and over again with young kids and parents. And if I could go back, I would have done that differently. I would have just I wouldn't have played all that stuff. I would have enjoyed my summer, trained, went to the beach, and then junior year comes around, I would have rolled to that one showcase, and I would have sat high 80s as a lefty, projectable, and I would have got 10 offers. Like, and I'm not pissed about that or anything now, but like now that I have the knowledge of it, I'm trying to do my best to pass it on to the younger generation. I obviously run a training company as well, so I have incentive to do this. But I mean, point being, like, if you're not doing this, the landscape's too competitive. Unless you're a genetic freak, which you're going to make it anyway. But I see a lot of you guys out here. Some of you watching this. Some of you guys are parents of kids like this. You have a child. He's 14, 15. He throws about mid 70s, maybe up to 80 occasionally. With the right program, like, he should be mid to high 80s by his junior year. Like, will be. And he's going to have a good shot to play in college, you know. And then eventually, like, he could get maybe even low 90s by his senior year. And you never know what's going to happen then. But I think the point is, like, you're not as far away as it seems if you take the right steps, essentially. And me making this video is just a tour into my mind of, like, where I was at that time, the things that I was thinking about, and how they did me a disservice. And you can kind of just take these and then do with them what you will. And if you want to adjust kind of what your plan is out of them and it helps you, then that's great, you know? And if you're really confident with whatever you're doing, it's kind of misaligned with what I'm saying, then keep doing that, you know? It's not going to be for everyone, but my point is that I think a lot of some of the people around young kids kind of will steer them in a direction that maybe isn't the best for, like, what actually plays at the higher levels, right? And I'm in the thick of the higher levels. I know what it takes. I know the foundations that have to be set for you to, you know, have a really good shot at being successful and you know, making money from this game and getting your education paid for from this game, which is most important. You can kind of boil it down into a couple different theses of what I would have changed. Number one being lower the amount of games, just senseless showcases and games in the summer, fall. Number two, sit down with yourself, but ideally someone that knows more than you, and kind of get really clear on 2 to 3 things that you need to do to get you where you want to be as a baseball player, right? And so the most simple one is, like, I need to gain 4 miles an hour, right? But it could be way more nuanced than that. It could be I need to add a plus breaking ball before my junior year, right? So that one's a little bit more intricate. But get damn clear on those 2 to 3, not 7 different things. Simplify. Sometimes making stuff simple is the hardest thing. We love to make stuff complex, more complex than it needs to be. Once I had those 2 to 3 things simplified, ruthlessly find someone that can help me get there efficiently, essentially. And that could be remote coaching, like what I offer. That could be a facility near you, if you have one like that. That could be someone in your family who has education on this. But you're going to need to educate yourself a bit to understand if they're worth their salt in terms of producing these results, obviously. And then you just commit and you just execute. And it's not like your whole life needs to be, oh, I only think about baseball, baseball, baseball. Honestly, in the summer, it's almost the opposite. Like, you won't be traveling to all these showcases you don't even need to go to yet. Like, you can enjoy your summer and still put in good training, which I think is really important for the youth. Instead of, like, driving around to Jupiter, like all these Jupiter, Florida, we're going here next week. Like, we're paying for hotels, paying for all this stuff. You know, that's another thing I'm talking about. Like, I asked people in the subreddit how much they were spending on lessons per week, actually, because most people don't think in terms of per month for what they're paying for lessons. But the going rate is like 80 to 100-ish bucks for an hour. And then some people do 30-minute lessons for like 50. If you do a lesson every week, you're spending $400 to $500 on lessons alone, right? And lessons aren't giving you like a full lifting plan. They're not giving you your throwing plan. They're not optimizing for these other things that are really important if you want to give your child the best shot to go on, and if you as a young athlete want to have the best resources for yourself. So the monetary part is crazy, I think, in terms of lessons. Travel ball, I know travel ball can be crazy. I know some of y'all that are really talented, that they pay for you, like, and like the other kids pay for the good kids. It's honestly is a pretty screwed up system sometimes. But I mean, hotels, travel, all this stuff to these showcases that you probably don't even need to go to yet, most of you. like it's crazy, right? And it's unnecessary. And a lot of people think, a lot of parents, a lot of kids think, if I don't play in the perfect game event in Jupiter as a 14-year-old, like then how am I ever gonna get an offer? If you're good enough, they'll offer you at your freaking high school game. Leave you with some things to look for when you're picking who you would like to train with. You're gonna want a structured throwing plan. If you're coming off like a long season, you're gonna want some sort of downtime, some sort of deload, and then you're gonna want a proper on-ramp, and you're gonna want a handful of drills, 2 or 3, so same principle, that can kind of tackle something that is holding you back in your delivery. So when you're thinking about who you're going to work with, make sure that they can adequately present that and understand where they're coming from. So it's not just like, oh yeah, we just long toss, like don't tolerate that stuff. Like be skeptical, like ask questions, make sure people are worth a damn. Because your career is just too short to entrust it in someone who doesn't have a fully individualized program. The next thing you're going to want to look for is strength and movement. Can they teach you how to become stronger and have better movement qualities? Understanding, like, do they have a way to track if you're getting stronger aside from just, is the weight going up, right? Like, if they have force plates and stuff like that, that's good. That's a good litmus test. Like, what type of means are they using for arm care? Are they like, oh, we just do a couple J-bands, like, you'll be dialed. Like, that's not going to cut it. It's not going to handle the demands of the throw. Listen to how they articulate themselves. Be skeptical, be skeptical of these people. You're going to want some sort of way to measure progress in terms of throwing. So radar guns are strongly encouraged. A Rapsodo could work. A TrackMan is great. This type of stuff. Are they integrating some form of nutrition, mentality, like a hormonal perspective, a metabolic perspective? These are all important. We want to become the most anabolic, bioenergetic athlete we can be, regardless of the sport. That's going to help you handle the demands of competition way better. Like if you're in a high estrogen elevated state, like you're always gonna have anxiety before you throw. Like so no matter how much visualization you do. So this is all important stuff. If you're serious about developing and not just practicing, you need to be thinking bigger than just lessons and games on the weekend. At Magna Performance, we wrote a free ebook. It's the 4 pillars of player development. We basically wrote it to just have something free for parents that they can kind of grasp what goes into actual player development, what matters at the collegiate pro level, and then gives you an idea of what to ignore, which helps just simplify everything. There's a lot of clutter out there. It's completely free and it's packed with value. Whether you end up working with us or not, we encourage that you download that ebook. It'll give you a better blueprint for yourself as a young athlete or for your son. The link for that will be in the description. And if you want to chat one-on-one about it, just DM me development on Instagram. So I hope you all got some value out of this. It was kind of funny reflecting back onto my childhood and where I'm at now and what I could have done differently. Again, I made this video so you guys can kind of take my experience and apply it to your situation and see if you can kind of understand what your next step should be, and how to get where you want to be with direction and clarity, as opposed to just feeling like disoriented in the sea of information that is the training world. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, guys. Share this with someone that could benefit from it. Leave a comment if you want to chat about something or you have a question about something I mentioned in the video. All right, y'all. Until next time. Bye.
There goes Glenn is down.